Hey everyone, it is 20! Back with February media thread of 2025. This one should be shorter, hopefully, unless I blab because I can't help but blab. So first up was this February 12th. I finished Bakuage Sentai Boonboomger, and man, I gotta say, freaking fantastic. Super Sentai's kind of been killing it. Well, I say that they've been killing it. This is currently a 2 streak. Because King Oger was incredible. Boonboomger was incredible. But before King Oger was the Dawn Brothers, which was absolute shit. It really annoys me that every time I go and I see anything Super Sentai like online, people talk positively about that one. I'm like, am I the odd one out? I think I've just accepted that I am. And that like I'm one of the few people who doesn't like Dawn Brothers. I hate Dawn Brothers. I think it's just garbage. But who cares about that? Boonboomger was not garbage. Boonboomger was stellar all the way through. Was I surprised? I think I might have been. Just how good it was. Like, it's not like I thought it'd be bad. It's just I enjoyed King Oger so much. I was like, all right, let's not get the hopes high up that the next one will be like as good as King Oger. You know, I just at least want it to be good. Like, period. But it was fantastic. Like, this was a great season. This team was awesome. Handel Taya. I love. They pun everything. He was a great red. I like that they made him rich, so he could just buy places whenever he wanted to if he needed to for a specific thing. What a cool team. Is the purple guy on here? Yeah, he is. I'm blocking him. I see him down there under the pink. Gosh, I should look this up so I remember all their names. Been a while since I finished it. I think it's Mira is pink, Shashiro is blue. Well, it's Ishiro, but some of them call him Shashiro. Alright, Akase Jo is black, Genba is orange, and Sakito is purple. Yep. Great team, and of course I also like Bunderio Bunderes and Bundi, their buddies who help them out. Just really good season with a great cast, really cool action. Like the suits are really neat. Like they're like such a different take on I think Sentai suits. Are they spandex? I think they probably are. Just they look so different. Also they're wearing the jackets as part of their team power up, and yeah, the jackets are so cool. They kind of bring to mind the power up from King Oger that they used in like 2 episodes, which is the one where they create like hard light versions of their respective bugs, and then they'll use them to smack stuff. They used it against the ninja guy when they beat him. It was like really cool, and for this they kind of have a similar thing where they can sync with any of the boom boom cars and summon their parts in battle. Once again, like almost like hard light constructs to hit stuff with, and it looks really cool. Just the jacket on top of the suit looks super cool. Yeah, it's just a fun series. Like, just you're going back to one that doesn't really have so much of an overarching thing. It takes a while for like the plot itself to kick in, because we get like almost arcs with Madrex and then Cannonborg, Disc Race, and then finally Grant Risk and the big bad, the leader of the Hashirian gang. What was his name? Waruid Spindo. How could I forget? He's really cool. He's a great main villain. They had a really cool crew. I like the way that the arcs were divided up. I was sad when Madrex was taken out as quickly as he was, even though it did kind of work for the character in terms of his arc. And then they brought him back, and I thought that part with Disc Race bringing Madrex back in that additional moment we had with him was really good. Cannonborg was good too. I did feel like his final battle almost kind of came out of nowhere, but it's like how he was found out and defeated was a big driving point for the next arcs and everything when it came to revealing who also was allied with the bad guys. Disc Race was the one I was most disappointed by, actually, because he was awesome. Like, his intro as a villain was just perfect, and his plans and how he went about things was much more well thought out than Madrex or Cannonborg. Like it's clearly this is why he's feared, why everyone was worried when he first popped up, and everything about that, and his rivalry with Genba, and all that kind of stuff was really good. But then he gets taken out so quickly, and once again, like unlike Cannonborg, I felt like his episode where he dies is just I don't know. Where also it's like, okay, this is Race's final episode. I'm like, we haven't even reached like a climax with him. I don't feel like it. It's like they got rid of him because they needed to introduce and bring us up to fight with Genbu, Grant Risk, and Why Do We Eat Spindo. It's like they needed to properly introduce him, which, by the way, it took quite a while to see the main bad for this season. But when we finally saw him and saw what he was like, and I was like, oh, I love this guy already. Like, this is a really cool villain. And like his fight scenes, he doesn't have many, but he's so cool in all of them. Like it's just amusing. Like it's like part of it should be funny because of all the "hoo" sound that he makes, but just like the way he carries himself and the way that he fights, it's entertaining as fuck. I really like him. He's a good main villain. But yeah, I thought, like, I'm trying to think, like, what was the overarching story? It's like the Hashirians are trying to, they expand their territory by taking over planets. And in this one, it looks like their decision for how to take over Earth. They want to take over Earth because of how plentiful the screams are. That's like their fuel. And like they say in detail in like the last few episodes when they talk about all the war and conflict that's what's happening on Earth, and that's why it's so easy to. It's a great place to gather screams for them and pain and misery and all that. But in addition, they also find, I guess, like-minded people on the planet to help them take over. And I thought it was interesting that they introduced a whole governmental body, which I haven't seen in a while in the Sentai, unless I'm just forgetting. The ISA, this like group that watches for aliens and stuff that the Boom Boom just kind of ally with early on. And it turns out that their commanders, the people in charge there, are actually like the big guy at the very top is working with the Hashirians. He wants to hand over Earth to them, basically. And it's the same with Taya has his mentor who raised him and taught him about how to be the person that he is for the entire series. And we find out, I think like halfway through the series, that he's also in on it. He's also one of the bad guys, which is But man, they do so well with this shit. Like I just can't even like process how good it was and properly explain it. I think also the cool thing is like how the team changed, like how they came together was cool, like bit by bit until the whole squad was together. It kind of reminds me of I think it was Kyoryuger, right? That was the one with King, Daigo, the one that had 10 Rangers, the one that ended. I think that one started with them not knowing who each other was and kind of like piecing the team together also, but it kind of came together really quickly. The 5 main ones for that one, and then they found out who each other was really quickly. This one, I like the way that this one went more, and I also like that they what's the word for the fuck? And I am blanking on what I was gonna say. Oh, because it doesn't like stay that way. Like because of plot reasons, certain members leave the team. Like when we were introduced to Genba, or to Disrace, and Genba wants to go after him personally, he leaves the team. So he's kind of like removed from the intro, sort of, in a lot of ways, and it happens a lot later with Shashiro as well. And Boomderio and Boom Boom happens to him too. And it's so cool, just like how it's fluctuating constantly by the end of it. I found the final arc of episodes to be fan-frickin-tastic. And they didn't even have access to their robots anymore for like the last arc of the series. They had Bundi, so they could use that one, but nothing else. And it was really cool. And I have to mention the 3-seaters, Mad Rex's underlings who are in the entire series. Let's see if I can find their names, because I actually never knew their names. Or at least not that well, because their names are just weird. And they don't say it a lot. They just kind of show up together, and it's really funny. Deco Trade, Itasha, and Yao Yao. Or Yai Yerukar. So yeah, that's they're in the bottom left corner on there. Funny as hell. Like they're really entertaining. They're like Team Rocket. They're so silly and so goofy, but like they have character to them beyond that. Like whether it's the Christmas episode or everything that happens with Itasha, or their arc after Madrex comes back and how they want to try to repair his memories and actually bring their Madrex back, and it doesn't work out. So to the way that they act in the final arc of the series, when they kind of basically flip sides and kind of help the Boonboomgers out. They're really cool. I honestly thought they died in like the semi-final episode or one of the last ones when the machine they were piloting, they used it to blow up another one, like self-destructed. I was like, oh, that's sad. But then they were just in the next episode just injured. So I was like, oh, okay. So yeah, I was surprised they survived the whole thing, but I was happy about it. I think another really cool thing, like I know I talked about the fight scenes being awesome, but I can't get over the final battle. Like the final battle against Grant Risk and Wide Spindo are just amazing. It's the only fight they have with Grant Risk, the second in command, like the entire time, and they nailed it. Like the dude's fighting them with an umbrella, and it looks like the coolest. It's like one of the coolest action scenes I've seen in a while. So yeah, Boonboomger overall was just a blast, and I'm really looking forward to what comes next, because they have their crossover movie with King Oger, I believe. So excited to see it. Two of my favorite teams coming together. I'm so excited to see it. And just any other way. Also, another cool thing that happened in this series, which is something I saw people talking about, and I got spoiled on it because Twitter doesn't want to shut the. But it's there was a lot of returning Sentai warriors in here, like Wright and what's his name, Kijino from Tokyuger were in here. Joe from Gokaiger, I believe, was here. The blue one. Sure, someone else was here, and I can't remember. Oh, Sosuke from Goanger as well. It was just really cool to see them back, like all these old characters, and just like I loved it. I really like seeing them back. It's like a really neat thing that they could do. Just it was fun. It was fun. Boonboomger was excellent. Definitely a big recommend. Because holy crap, that was good. And I know the next one, number one, Sentai Gojuger just started. I'm also really interested to see that. Sounds cool. I spent a lot of time talking about this. I'm surprised, not surprised I did. That was good. On February 16th, I finished playing Papa's Pizzeria Deluxe. Is that? Yeah, that's when I completed it. I decided to hold off on adding this to the media thread until I completed it. Because it doesn't really have a story, per se. It's just hard to say when you finish it, but I completed it on the 16th. And once again, kind of like with the Pizzeria from last year, the Papa's games, the Papa's restaurant games are just super fun flash games. They're like really simple, but they're so fun. I played like so many of them back on the day, and now that they're starting to release some of them on Steam, the deluxe versions, it's fun to revisit. So yeah, compared to Pizzeria, I feel like it took me a lot longer to kind of learn or get into the flow of making pizzas in this thing. But once I got it, it just went like that, and it was fun. I don't know what else to say. It was just enjoyable. It's a good, fun flash game. Nice. I already did a deep dive on this one too. The first King of Shannara, which I finished reading on February 18th. So I'll try to keep it short. Great prequel. It's a prequel to the Sword trilogy, and it's really good. Like the whole cast of it is neat. Bremen, Kinson, Marith, Tate Treffenwid, Riska, Gerald Shannara, Preya Starl. Just the whole thing, their whole journeys with dealing with the destruction of Paranor, the death of the Druids, the Black Elf Stone, forging the actual Sword of Shannara, and then like the big final battles. Like it's really cool. It's a really cool story. It's really cool to go back and see this early phase, this early moment in history that was referenced a few times in the Sword trilogy, specifically obviously in Sword itself. So it's neat. It's a really good prequel. And then on February 21st, did I write where I completed it here? I don't think I did. Huh. But on February 21st, I finished Gestalt, Steam and Cinder on Steam. It was a I forgot where I saw it, but there was someone who was talking about a bunch of indie games coming out on Steam that they were all into, and 2 of them looked really interesting. I forgot what the other one was, unfortunately, but this was one of them. And so I just had it on my list for a while, and I saw that it had come out. I think it was on sale, I don't remember, and I'm like, I'm getting it. And it's good. It's so fun. I want to say, yeah, it is like a Metroidvania, where you play as Alethea? Yeah. Lone Bounty Hunter, that's her with the hat, the gun, and the sword. And how she kind of finds herself in the midst of a very massive mystery and conspiracy in the world of Canaan, is what it's called. So, amazing game. Like, it's super fun to play. The gameplay loop is super fun. Exploring is super fun. It looks great. You know, the sprite work and everything, the backgrounds all look amazing. The 2 knocks against it I would give is difficulty balance. It doesn't have it. There's challenge early on. I think it was the second boss in the game was the last time I had like a notable challenge. After that, like, enemies kind of take a bit to die, like, you know, beating them down. It's not like they're super spongy, but bosses, the issue is that you can improve the character so quickly through increasing her stats on the skill sheet and getting equipment that I never died on a boss after the second boss, because I was always able to heal myself fully with like my upgraded healing stuff, or and just in some cases just straight up tank enemy. I didn't really need to dodge boss moves. I could just tank them and overpower them and take them out. So it kind of feels like you can get broken a little too easily, and like you kind of lose the challenge aspect of certain things, which is unfortunate. Really quickly too. The game kind of follows the Souls rules of when you reach a checkpoint and you save, it respawns all the enemies, and that what's the other thing? Healing is a rechargeable thing. So it's like your healing item only has like 2 uses, but every time you save, it refills, and then you can upgrade it to, I think 8 is the end number at the end of the game. One thing I did like about the game is that it doesn't require you to get everything to have everything, if that makes sense. Like, for example, upgrading the flask, I guess you can call it, because it's the equivalent to the Estus flask, requires a different item, some infused item that you need to find. And you need 1 to upgrade it once, and eventually it becomes 2, and then 3, and then 4. I think the last upgrade takes 6 of those to upgrade it one more time. But there are, like, let's say it takes 30 of those, just a random number, to fully upgrade your healing. There's 36 of those items in the game. So you don't need to go crazy finding the one you missed to complete the upgrade. And everything in the game is like that. The same with like your skill tree as well. Like, there are more points available than you would need. And I actually greatly prefer that. So you're not driving yourself crazy looking for those last few things. So that was a really neat, a nice little anti-frustration feature, if you could call it that. The only other downside, the only other knock I have against this game is that the story is really front-loaded. It's like really, like, reading the intro stuff and trying to keep track of the terminology and what happens had me confused for way longer than I think I should have been. In terms of why the world is in the state it's in. But after that, after the intro, the story kind of like eases out and it really simplifies from there until the end. So there's not a lot of stuff going. There's not a lot of characters in the game. At least not a lot that have like recurring importance beyond Alethea and the dude. What was his name? Marlowe, who you bump into a few areas into the game, and you end up spending like 90% of the game after that with. I actually really came to like him a lot. I wasn't sure how I would feel about him when I first met him, but the further in the game I got, the more I liked him, so I thought that was cool. So yeah. So like, gameplay-wise, it's excellent. Story-wise, I think they could have like tightened a few things up or made it a bit clearer. But I think that the main thing about it that kind of sticks with me is that it just kind of ends. Like, there's this whole thing in the background happening of like a gate and what is beyond it, what happens when it opens. And yet the game ends right as that's happening, and you don't even really get to see what it was all for. I guess the idea is they'll do a sequel. Which I wouldn't mind, because I really do like the game, and the world has some interesting stuff into it when I could understand what was happening. So, you know, good. I really enjoyed it. It was a very fun game to play. Also, nice is a good compact length. It wasn't like absurdly long or anything like that. Definitely has replayability there, just to enjoy it. Okay, I'll put all these together. Because towards the end of February, I went to Los Angeles. I have the video for it up already. And on the plane ride there and on the plane ride back, I was reading as best as I could the Deltora Quest books again. I say as best as I could because at some point the lights went off. At least on the plane ride to LA, I used the overhead light. But on the plane ride back to Orlando, it was an overnight flight. And I didn't want to turn on the light because I know there's people sleeping around me. I wish I had bought like a reading light, like a tiny little flashlight you can attach to a book to help illuminate the pages. I would have definitely kept reading if I had that, but unfortunately I didn't. But, so, we'll just go through it here. February 25th was when I finished reading the first two books, which is The Forest of Silence and The Lake of Tears. And then... Oh, that was in March, so never mind. So it was only the first two that I read. I didn't finish the next ones until the next month, right? Right? Yeah. So that's fine. Good intro though. Just like I really like the books. Like there's so much. It's funny going from Shannara to this because these books are so much simpler and so much shorter. So it's just like it gets through its plot real quick. Especially The Forest of Silence because that book has to do a lot of work because it has the intro establishing the world and like the characters, not even the characters because it focuses on the main character's dad at first for a few chapters, and then it time skips and it now changes to Leaf, the son, who we're gonna follow for the rest of the books, and it shows his story, like his intro about what he's like, and then he gets told by his parents about the Belt of Deltora and reclaiming the gems and saving the land from the Shadow Lord. And then he departs on the adventure with Barda. They go to the Forest of Silence where the first gem is, and they have to clear that area, find it, and all that stuff. They meet Jasmine there, who's the third member of their crew, and then the book ends. It's a lot of stuff to shove into such a short book, and it flies through it pretty quickly. Ultimately, that's the one thing I noticed about these. I guess it's because these are younger books in terms of like the audience, I guess, that they're going after. So they're a lot simpler. In that regard, but I loved reading them years and years ago, and I've read all 8 original books. And reading them again, like I still like them. You know, I don't mind that they're so simplistic or anything like that. Just they tell a good story, and it's a fun, nice story. I like Leaf, Barda, and Jasmine. They're a great trio, and yeah, it's really nice. Lake of Tears also was one where they could spend more of the adventure actually getting there. And we meet different people. And we're at the bridge where they have to get past that giant creature and solve his riddles. The two people they meet at the quicksand where they almost drown, and then turns out those people are evil. And the lake itself with the giant fish guardian and the witch, I think she is, the sorceress, Thagan. I thought that was really funny too because the final chapter after Thagan shows up to attack them is called Fight for Freedom, and like it features Thagan using her magic to like smack everyone around, and they can't really do anything about it. And like a handful of paragraphs into the chapter, Cree, the bird that they hang out with, the crow who belongs to Raven, he's a bird that belongs to Jasmine. Basically, she has Cree and she has Philly, these two little creatures with her. Just pokes the witch's, the sorcerer's finger when she doesn't expect it, and in order to defeat her, you need to draw blood, which happens. And it's amusing that the chapter is called that, so you think it'd be a difficult fight, and yet she gets her finger pricked and dies like paragraphs into it. So I just thought that was funny. Which, I mean, it is simplistic how they handle it. It was the same with Goral, the Golden Knight from the first book, and stuff like that. Like, it's just, once again, but like it's so enjoyable. It's fun. And like as an aside, while we're here, oh man, this is gonna make it. I'll try to keep this brief. But Deltora Quest, for some reason, I don't know exactly how, if there's like an origin story for this, but it was adapted into an anime back in 2007. That anime aired. It's like 62 episodes. And it was never subtitled, like, officially by anyone. And fan subtitles kind of petered out after like 10 episodes. Why? I don't know. I guess people just lost interest and most people weren't drawn into it. I did hear, and I remember this from back in 2010, that there was someone who did in fact subtitle the entire thing, but then I guess lost their files. I think their channel where they uploaded them all got copyright struck and they lost everything. I guess they didn't keep any files on themselves, which is sad. By the time I learned about that and I went to find the channel, there was literally nothing there anymore. I think it was like maybe the first 2 episodes of that, if I remember correctly. But yeah, no, it was gone. And the series did get dubbed, but I don't say this to be a jerk, but the dub was terrible. I'll just say that. It was a really bad dub. Like, no offense to the voice actors, but I couldn't get into it. I couldn't get over how it sounded. So I didn't want to watch that. I did see a few episodes of it because it was on at the time. I believe it was on Cartoon Network or the Hub. I don't remember. It was on something. And the dub only did, because of course dubs never want to do everything. It only did 58 episodes, I think, which episode 58 is where the book ends, like the 8th book ends. But the anime had a few more episodes after, and they obviously didn't bother to dub those. Anyway, but yeah, it's anyway. I say all this because someone has actually subtitled almost the entire series, and I've been watching it, and it's so fun. It's so fun because I just read the books, and now I'm watching the events be animated, and it's just like in full, and I'm having a blast. It's really cool. Obviously, there are some differences. A few things are slightly different. Some things are very different, but it's nothing that like is deal breaking. It's still an incredibly faithful and good adaptation of the books, and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm excited to get further. I've only read the first 4 books as of now. Obviously, the next 2 I've read earlier this month. And in the anime, I've almost caught up to the end of the 4th book. So I'm going to start reading. I already started reading the next ones. Book 5 is in here, and 6, 7, and 8 to the end. So good. I'm so happy. And then in the midst of all that, on February 26th, right? Yep. February 26th is the last thing I have on here. Was Callie's concert in California, in Los Angeles, at the Hollywood Palladium. I mean, it's a concert. I guess it should count as media, and if not, it's definitely a notable thing that happened to me this year, because it was the first time that I traveled, and it's in forever, and the first time I traveled alone, ever. So going to LA by myself was awesome. I had a lot of fun over there, ate a lot of shit. My favorite things was a street vendor who I bought a rice plate from. It's basically like fried rice with pork. Delicious. Dude was awesome. I wish that I had gone back out and caught him before I went to the concert, but the line was already long, and I don't even know if he was still on the street corner, because I would have liked to tell him how much I enjoyed the food, but it was awesome. And Johnny Rockets was the other standout thing from there. Like, oh, that was one of the best burgers I've had in a long time. Like, awesome. But the concert itself was just amazing. Like, being in the hall with everybody was so cool. Like, the crowd was so loud. The music was so loud. The cheering was just fantastic. Like, all the chants, whether it was yelling stuff like Boko's Binted or chat. It was a fun part where we were cheering for chat for the live stream people who were watching. And like, chat, 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 chat. Or USA, USA, like everything. We were yelling everything over there. It was so much fun. It was so good. Singing along to a lot of the songs. It was a fantastic set list. Like, I like all of Callie's music, and I have specific favorites. And she nailed like a lot of them that I would not have expected to hear, or that I was like just not planning. Because I should have made like a list of what I wanted to hear, but I didn't. But like, she started with Mara Mara, which was one of the earworms. It was one of her songs that I listened to so many times after it came out. Just like Red was another one, which wasn't here. But Mara Mara was great. Overkill is, I think, that was my most listened to song in 2024, according to Spotify, so it's great to hear it. Yona Yona Journey was a surprise to hear. I did not expect to get that here. She did almost all of her collab songs, but obviously she had to do them solo. So she did Tide and Sneaking and gosh, what's the other collab song that she did? Oh, Flashbang. It's like really good. Like the other collab songs that she didn't do, I would have loved to hear them. It's I think is it called Glass Slipper? No, it's Dance Past Midnight. Her collab with Amelie is really good, and Carousel, her collab with Real, I mean, so good, such great songs. And of course, she had the two standouts from. Well, I say standouts. I love Phantomime, her latest album. Dolmai and Cult Following, so freaking amazing. And she even got to play her bass a bit because she's been learning bass. So she did a few notes for, I think it was the beginning of Cult Following and Sneaking. I'm just going nuts. Like it was so good. I came home. I got home Thursday, slept, woke up, and I think it was that Thursday or Friday. I remember that I went onto Spawn and bought the digital ticket too, the streaming ticket, so I could watch the concert again. And I've seen it already like 2 or 3 more times and listened to it. It's so good. It's an amazing set list, and she was nailing it. Like she was on fire. Like it was amazing. I have New Underworld Order, her first live, and I've listened to that a few times. This is like, it's like that she did great there. It's like she improved everything for this one. It's one of the best things about watching Hololive concerts over and watching the different talents perform is seeing how much they improve from one concert to the next, to the next, to the next, one performance to the next, to the next. Fest is the ultimate benchmark. See how much everyone's grown from the last year, and we just had that this over the weekend. So, yeah, no, it was great. There's a few things I regret, but that was more on me. It's not about the concert; it's just about me, myself, and how I handled going over there and talking to people. Which I did poorly. So I really want to do it again. I want to go to another. Like if she has a third live, I'll go to it. Hololive English themselves, I'm sure is going to have a third thing. I'm absolutely going to try to get to that one. And then 7th Fest next year in Japan. I'm going to try to win the lottery for that. I don't know if I will. Maybe I won't. But I'm going to try actually because just. At least once, I would love to say I went to Japan and spent some time there. That'd be very cool, right? Right. So yeah. Anyway, that's it for that for February. Man, I still can't believe I actually flew to Los Angeles, saw Cali live, and then flew back. That was amazing. I had a blast. Yeah. Anyway, that wraps it up for this media thread. Thanks everyone so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Until then, hasta.